tonight, center chair for the faith-based community, none other than Reverend Isaac Nielsen, and he will lead us in our faith prayer. Reverend Nielsen.
Thank you, Michelle. Let us pray. Mighty God, we give you thanks for another day. The songwriter says this is the day that the Lord has made. We will rejoice and be glad in it. Thank you for your faithfulness, your goodness, Lord, your mercy, Lord, for your loving kindness, and all that we have experienced throughout this day, your provision and your protection. We thank you for the opportunity that we have to plan, to schedule, then to know that you have given us the opportunity to carry our plans forward, for us to meet as we are doing so. We thank you for the subject matter that of governance, that you called us to govern. You called us to thank you for the subject. Scriptures are replete of the leaders, the folk governing, your instructions on how to govern. We ask that you will grant us wisdom as we delineate, discuss. Thank you for those that you have provided to lead us in this discussion. Pray for your anointing upon them as they share.
That I, Donna Yu, is on all the way from Jamaica. I'm trying to do that. Donovan Longmore is also on. He's driving, and he's a Northeast State rep from Connecticut. Tracy Thomas is also on, and she is on the executive chair for Commerce. And Asha Richards is on, who's the ruler to make the last council. We have Marie Montgomery on as well. Asha Richards on, Jennifer James is on as well. Welcome to Jennifer. Ben Jalal, thank you for coming. Robert Jackson, thank you for showing up.
Recording in progress.
Thank you for doing that, Asha. And I will get to the rest of you, but thank you all for taking time out of your busy schedule to be here tonight to have this healthy conversation. So our first speaker for tonight is none other than Dr. Karren Dunkley, a distinguished public intellectual and internationally recognized educator. Joins our governance panel with a wealth of experience in leadership and systems development. Holding a doctorate in organization and leadership from Teachers College Columbia University. Dr. Dunkley is renowned for her professional and personal contribution, earning multiple prestigious awards. Her academic achievements are further enhanced by her role as the founder and principal of PNG Consulting LLC, a firm specializing in organizational leadership and development. With a diverse clientele that spans industry, organization, government, and global leaders, Dr. Dunkley insights are valuable discussions on Jamaica's governance and development. Thank you, Dr. Dunkley, for submitting to your bio. That she is my esteemed, if not phenomenal, predecessor in this role. Dr. Dunkley has shaped this role so that Northeast will continue to impact and make a difference in the world. I am proud to have the opportunity to learn from you, and I thank you for supporting me as I establish myself in this role. I am so happy that you're here to join us for this educational forum on governance. Thank you and welcome, Dr. Dunkley. Please unmute your mic and share your wisdom with us, Dr. Dunkley. Welcome.
Thank you so very much, Michelle, Tulloch-Neil. Greetings and salutations to everyone who's here. Thank you, as always, Michelle, for including me. And as we continue to follow, certainly your leadership in the Northeast, the importance of this forum cannot be underscored enough. And I hope at the end of it, the deputy mayor is also on the panel. We have been asking for that representation explicitly in these conversations, and my good friend Tulsi White Crawford is also here from Spring Garden Village, St. James. We want for you to take so that we can see the global diaspora voice included in a quite a consistent manner around these conversations that are taking place. Now, I think, Madam Chair, you asked us to limit our comments so we can get right into questions. So as we undertake the conversation about governance, and for me, simply stated, governance is the way in which a community government exercises its power around the management of economic and social resources with national development. And to go a little bit deeper, because I know that that is one of the questions definition. However, what I would like my answer, my comments to reflect, or what I believe as we engage in this discussion are the four pillars of governance. And I know, Madam Chair, that one of the questions is to do accountability and transparency that we often hear about. But as we govern in Jamaica as we stand now, and we think about the kind of governance that we anticipate for our children and their children, for the prosperity of the country, I just want to include two additional pillars. So for me, as we talk about governance, accountability must be that our public officials are answerable for their behavior. That should be in response to the question and the need and the ask of the people who have elected. And so this accountability is simply just more than the internal governance around public sectors, but also we should establish criteria to the performance of these public officials, as well as to include any oversight mechanisms when the standards that we have established are not met, including through the rule of law and the judicial body. And I think that that is one tenet for me when we talk about accountability and we think about the next phase of governance in Jamaica that we need to have. The other piece around the governance is participation. And I think that we cannot have a well-functioning governance structure unless we accept that Jamaican people are at the heart of development. And in the end, the Jamaican people are the ultimate agents of development. They're the ultimate beneficiaries. And whether or not we bring governance through an organization, association, but it is the people that must have the voice in the structure. And so it means that private sector, civil society, all of these different channels must have a place that is not only top down but also bottom up. And for me, participation without voice of the Jamaican people of governance, without participation from the Jamaican people in a real way, will be merely posturing and social talk. So that's accountability and participation. The third pillar that we must focus on in the next iteration of governance, any governance discussion in Jamaica, is predictability. And these concepts come from the Asian Development Plan. And I happen to work very closely with one individual who advised me. It's predictability. So what we need to ensure that as a society, as a country, man. And that is what we mean by predictability. And we'll talk a little bit more, Madam Chair, about the ways in which, when we lack predictability, it leads to an ill or malfunction system of governance, certainly in Jamaica. And then, of course, pillar is transparency. And this refers to the availability of information to the general public. Clarity about government rules, regulations, and decisions, and how these actions impact public and private sector, civil society, and every individual from the little picnic up to the big man, as he likes to use that term in Jamaica. And this is where I will conclude my remarks that without these four pillars of accountability, participation, predictability, and transparency, we cannot talk about a strong governance structure, especially like a constitutional reform. Thank you, and I look forward to responding to questions and engaging with the esteemed audience, many of whom I know and respect very well for hearing.
Thank you very much, Dr. Dunkley. And you came out with fire in that speech. And so we have a lot to break down as we move on. Thank you very much to the interpreter that is on for the death. Thank you so much. Michelle King, Executive Chair for Arts, Sports, and Culture. Welcome. Barbara Wilson on the state chair for Pennsylvania. And Stafford Grant, Executive Chair for Security. Thank you all the team that's working with me. And so when they are here, I just want to acknowledge them. I thank them for the work that they put behind it. Our next center for tonight will be none that Herb Nelson Jr. Herb Nelson is a highly motivated, extremely service veteran who was born in Kingston, Jamaica. His parents, Herbert Nelson, Lance Surgeon turned battalion Jamaican National Reserves, and Maura Nelson, teacher at St. Mary's and Paul Roman Catholic Church in Kingston. Herb attended the Alpha Infant and Junior School, an institution on South Campus, across from Savannah Park, in a common entrance of a Christian St. George's College, and graduated in 1996. I'm sure what this happened on the screen, but we'll figure it out in a minute. Sorry about that. At age 15, he was head of his household, caring for five daughters and his sister left behind when his parents migrated to New York City in the 1960s. Second child of the union, Herb has completed the Bachelor of Science, Management Science, and is graduate in International Relationship at UMBC, College Park, Maryland, and Webster University, and was at AFB, MD, respectively, as well as service in the U.S. Army and U.S. intelligence communities. However, Herb Nelson doesn't really need to add long introduction. He his body, and I thank you for that, Herb. But your reputation and what you have done speaks for yourself. So I'm just gonna allow you to just come up and your thing that you do best and tell us what is your thought on the subject matter of governance. Herb Nelson Jr. On you, please. Herb on you. Good, great. Great.
Good evening, everyone. Herb Nelson. I am really into this subject matter because every Saturday on Reason with Radical, every Sunday night on the town hall with Wayne Lonesome, we hammer away at good governance and failures of leadership to achieve that. I have a little bit more in-depth uh, idea of governance. It's the system in which entities, meaning the various ministries of government, the various associate agencies of government are directed and controlled. is concerned with structure and processes for decision making, accountability, control and behavior at the top of those entities or those ministries, those agencies. Governance influence how an organization's objectives are set and achieved, how risk is monitored and addressed, and how performance is optimized. Good governance, on the other hand, is important because it helps organizations achieve their objectives, preserve and strengthen stakeholder confidence, providing the foundation for high performing organizations and ensure the organization is well placed to respond to the changing environments that we see on a regular basis. The changes like, oil and gas going up, going down. Changes like the stock market crashing. Those are some of the changes that are found around us that directly impacts little Jamaica. Now, the policies that can be put in place to address various things that are uh, coming from the impacts of those events. And those policies have to address poverty. They must provide access to education, healthcare, basic infrastructure, like, the 40,000 or 70,000 homes promised. That's basic infrastructure. People don't have anywhere to live in a lot of cases, and they don't have any jobs to maintain. So you create job opportunities and you implement social safety nets. Now, here's the biggie: to ensure that the system is designed for good governance, competent leadership is essential. System should be designed to promote, the doctor said it earlier, transparency, accountability, and above all, citizen participation. Government should also ensure there are checks and balances in place to prevent abuse of power. And we waste so much time on the weekend going over that abuse of power because it is obvious in our system of government, not just at the national level, but also at local level. So I'm glad we have somebody here from local government to answer to that. To energize people to participate in the process of good government, the government has to promote transparency and accountability. The government should also ensure there are opportunities for participation and the public is informed about the issues. So when we have a dead body in the prime minister's lawyer's home, you just don't say, and 9 days later, night, it goes away, dies. You have got to tell the country what's going on with these murders. When you are doing head count of murders, explain to the public how the count is conducted and not shade here and there missing persons. Never ever go back to missing persons because you may be adding more to it. So the government should encourage the public to hold each and every representative, local and at national level, entities accountable. The people themselves have to wake up. The people themselves have to initiate action to make these entities and make local government accountable to their needs. So that's my opening for good governance. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Herman Dunkley Jr. I just want to remind you that Make the Club with Jeffrey Tabak Harris from it's on YouTube channel and Facebook. I think very soon you will put that information in the chat so you can send it out to your friends so that they can see this streaming online. Wonderful
May I?
topic.
Sorry to interrupt. I do apologize to everyone. We're having some audio issue at that end, but we're working on it. Okay.
Jeffrey. Michael Campbell, one of Michael Campbell, Northeast Theater for Virginia and West Virginia. Our next speaker will be other than Andrew Sharpe. And Andrew Sharpe is the founder and CEO of Authentic Caribbean Foundation, Inc., Boston, Massachusetts. He's a Jamaican born festival tourism leader, talk show host, and nonprofit professional. Caribbean Diaspora Connect, talk show host on a mission to ensure members of the abilities community in the U.S. and the Caribbean are included in fun, festivities, and economic empowerment activities. Andrew is passionate and determined to ensure people with disabilities are empowered to achieve financial independence, protect themselves, and manage the impact of climate change on their livelihoods as well as live a full and happy life. Mr. Sharp is a philanthropist who is passionate about theater and performing Caribbean drama and theater. He has performed the works for Louise Bennett, oh, that's very good. Miss Lou and Paul Keats Douglas, the Caribbean audience in Jamaica, Cayman Island, and Massachusetts. Andrew owns a diploma in tourism and business management. He has led Authentic Caribbean Foundation degree, being the recipient of several proclamations and resolutions from the Governor of Massachusetts and the cities of Boston, Brompton, Cambridge, Randolph for his outstanding efforts in promoting the upliftment of and education of the disabled. He plays a key role in creating and increasing awareness throughout the Commonwealth of Massachusetts as it relates to the recognition and honoring of June as National Caribbean American Heritage Month. Please welcome none other Andrew Sharp. Please unmute.
Thank you so much, Michelle. It's a pleasure to be a part of this esteemed panelist and an important point, especially as a civil society member, and to be able to participate with the civil society group at the Summit of the Americas under good governance, that the commitment of the regional government in Jamaica has signed on to many of those laws. The action and manner of governing, encompassing the system in which they need to operate and to be held accountable because these political officers, leaders have committed to good democracy governance. One of the things that must be addressed and implemented, and Karen spoke about it, is the protection and to improve civil society, the protection of human rights defenders, upholding the rule of law, ensuring that public policies are there, working with civil society, trade union, and private sectors, and ensuring that policies that are being implemented are transparent, accessible in terms of procurement, contracting processes, address anti-corruption, and many other aspects of the transparency, and to be able to give the citizens and civil society members the importance to participate in the democracy process of the law of the country, for instance, Jamaica. In the Summit of the Americas, it's been spoke about the important, the fundamental of protecting the whistleblowers, looking at the human rights, looking at the LGBTQ, the Afro-descendants, the minority, and the vulnerable and marginalized persons, and to be transparent in ways in which they are governed. I know Mr. Herb Nelson spoke about that also, and I'm happy to be part of this process, ensuring contribution, you know, the engagement of civil society in the development process, and to add to what Dr. Dunkley speaks about the importance of the diaspora involvement and engagement. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Andrew, so much. And yes, we need to make sure we are doing so. And our last presenter for this evening before getting into all the most important thing, the questions that will be coming. It's none other than Deputy Mayor Montego, Richard Anthony Vernon. Thank you so much, Richard. At 32, Richard Anthony Vernon is the youngest councillor to sit as Deputy Mayor of the city of Montego Bay. A former student of the prestigious Seas High School, Mr. Vernon holds a Master of Science distinction in Rona in Development Studies, Governance, and Public Policy. Mr. Vernon has a distinguished career in business, leadership, and politics. His stint in the private sector started as a young man working alongside his parents in various business pursuits. Today, he is a full-fledged entrepreneur. He boasts an impressive leadership record that spans over 50 years. And in 2019, he was a proud recipient of the Prime Minister Youth Award for Excellence in the Leadership category. Mr. Vernon currently serves on several boards, including the Western Regional Health Authority and the St. James Library Service. In addition, he chairs Albion Primary and Junior High School Infrastructure and Traffic Management Committee, Policy Framework Committee, and the Committee of Homelessness and Committee of Homelessness. He's a former board member of Cornwall Regional Hospital, Glendevon Center of Excellence, and the Parish Committee for Senior Citizens. Mr. Vernon has participated in several multilateral missions, mayors conferences, as a certified mediator. Mr. Vernon continues to be actively involved in the Montego Boys and Girls Club and investigative organization and community programs and projects as a member of the Panelist Club of Montego Bay. Richard Vernon is the father of two children and a government and sport enthusiast who finds time to exercise and train frequently despite his busy schedule. He maintains that freedom and development are attained through empowerment. Please welcome none other than Richard Anthony, Deputy Mayor of Montego Bay. Please unmute and let us know.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you very much, Michelle. Uh, my fellow panelists, for the Council Crawford and distinguished members here on the platform. Good evening to you. It is morning where I'm at. I'm actually in Rwanda, and I decided that I must be a part of this discussion. So it is three. Some was
So sorry to interrupt.
okay.
I have two interruptions who are involved. They're interrupting me because I'm deaf. Can you make sure that you speak clearly and enunciate so that I can access the information being shared? Thank you very much.
Okay, you're welcome. I'll try as best as possible. Yes. I may continue?
Go ahead, Mayor.
Yes, you may
Yes,
continue.
go ahead.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, so let me get to it quickly, since I may be unable to stay for the entire session. But what the panelists, my fellow panelists have highlighted thus far are correct where government and governance is concerned. But we want to make a distinction at this point in time between the government and governance. And if we may apply a bit of philosophy and go back to the days of Thomas Hobbes, where he maintained that man in his natural state is brute mutation. A whole lot of things he said about man in, in conclusion, basically, man is not able to manage himself in his natural state. He's brutish, social contract, one where uh, a system would be put in place to manage man, and that system is parliament, a government in place. Now, with that government in place, there are two sets of responsibilities that must be acknowledged. One, the government that is in place must ensure that those persons are taken care of, and the persons who are being governed, they have a responsibility to ensure that the persons governed are then responsible for their governance. So that is the formation of government. Of course, from a scientific standpoint, we have a study that would look at different systems from autocratic to democratic systems, you name it. In Jamaica, what we have is a limited constitutional monarchy and with a parliamentary system adopted from the Westminster system in Great Britain. So then we have the judiciary, the executive, legislative, and the different powers that are attributed to the different parts of government. Now, with that, it must be noted, and as I said, what you said before about transparency, accountability, predictability, part and inclusiveness, you name them, they're all right, they're all part of government. And if you want governance to be a normative measure, good governance in particular, then you start to look at these things and measure how a government perform against these areas that you have highlighted. So I want to just go back quickly to the point that I was making, that what is important to note is that whilst we have the executive powers of the prime minister would have given those executive powers to cabinet ministers who have responsibility to run a ministry. The persons in charge of the different ministries, the permanent secretaries, the CEOs, the regional managers, you give them an entire branch of management. They also make up that apparatus of government and must also measure their performance against what is given as the key performance indicators for good governance. So when we're talking about governance, it's more than public policy. It is how we measure how these policies are executed, how the programs are executed, and the plans as well. And we are looking at local governance and government as well. It is a similar structure in terms of having a mayor in place, so somebody needs to be elected, uh, having a mayor in place, a CEO that executes the policies of the council, and also the different officers across the departments of the local authority that carry out the different functions of the government structure that we regard as governance. So when we're looking at it, be sure to include how well our public officers perform, the elected ones, as well as those applied for a job and must carry out that job having been paid to do so. So that is my concerns for moving on this topic.
Thank you very much, Richard. And hopefully can clear that a little bit longer. I can realize where you are calling from, but I thank you for taking the time out just to be part of this conversation. I am going to go to Asha first, before I have these questions. Asha, are there any questions in the chat room that we need to go to at this time?
But I think I have someone that is actually done. There's an additional question that I might have to do and I will not it's open.
Okay. All right, thanks. So, in short, said she just asked you to repost your question. Okay. I did see somebody from Bridge of the Deaf had your hands up. Did you have a question? And
Hey, listen. Hey,
Amanda. All right. All right. Donovan, are you? You are good so far. All right. So one guys have basically covered this one. The first one is what is governance? Why does it matter? And why is it important today? And I just want you, one of the panelists or two, just flesh that out a little bit more. Why does it matter and why is it important today?
I know that that firm offering a very, I think all the candidates did offer a very potent definition. So Madam Chair, if I might invite someone else to share this, but also the Deputy Mayor. As we think about context is so key, right? And when we talk about governance, we have this beautiful definition, but we are Jamaicans and we're having this conversation situated around constitutional reform. So I'm particularly interested in your Deputy Mayor Vernon. He just spoke about governance generally, but as he thinks about government in Jamaica, understanding the distinction between the two, tell us what the governance looks like here in terms of definition and how it is applied to local government to make sure that the system is working for all Jamaicans. So I would just maybe refine the question so you can answer it, and I'm sure you will. Thank you.
Richard, since you put you on the spotlight, would you like to take it on? Or you want me to?
No problem. Several years ago, we had a very robust local government system. And let me just say that the local government system in Jamaica is the oldest form of government. It started as the vestry system, and that is why we have parishes, because the vestry was in the church, and the parishes were politically demarcated by the church. And coming out of the vestry system, we had an evolution of local government into the parochial board and the parish council 1901, and recently we became the municipal corporation under the new Local Governance Act of 2016. But what I getting at is that we had a robust local government system, and through instances of corruption, that system crashed when the government formed in the 1970s. The then Prime Minister Edward Siaga had to dismantle the system because due to the level of corruption that existed in the system, and this is coming out of some studies that were done on local government in Jamaica, and some commissions that were done as well. They realized that the local government it was so indebted. And let me just make a distinction. Local government, I'm not referring to the ministry at this point in time. I'm referring to what was then the parish council, the local authority. So it was dismantled based on the findings of the high level of corruption and indebtedness. And the different parts of local government were now centralized, and that is when we started to find the split up. So, for example, local authorities were responsible for municipal waste management. That became the National Solid Waste Management. It was responsible for planning. They created the National Environment and Planning Agency. It was responsible for road work, or back in the days, they used to say public works. They created the National Works Agency, and the list goes on and on. But it attenuated the system coupled by that time, and the different sections of the local authority set up into centralized. A problem with that it limits participation, and local government is the closest you can get to the community, the closest you can get to the community to get participation, to increase democracy, to also get inclusivity when you are executing policies and different programs of government. So it is important at this point in time that we have proper centralized system of government, especially now that we're looking at constitutional reform. And in terms of a republic, and if we look at, we have to look at international systems as well. If we want to look at what we have here in Jamaica, because what I will say is that our system was not innate. It did not evolve from the plantation, and we established our own form of government. We adopted it, and we adopted an international system. So when things change internationally, we have to look at what obtains there and see how best we have to change the system to improve the performance of government. But what you'll notice that republics, they have strong devolution of responsibilities that are centralized. Here in Jamaica, they're not centralized in the republics. Because in republics, the government tend to decentralize some uh, major responsibilities so that municipalities can be better served by the local authorities. So at this point in time and in the discussion of the governance and constitutional reform, we have to also look at decentralization of the central government so that local government can get more done. But not just get more done, but to attract more quality. That you have to increase the capacity of local authorities. You have to look at the restructuring, which is being done. The restructuring is being done at the local level. Now, the officers will be paid more. They will be placed on staff and taking on contracts and all of these things. So it makes local government more attractive and to uh, getting persons with the requisite qualification and skills working with local, because that is really a lot of people's persons, because it's close to the community and you need the best services for the community. So yeah, that is one way to look at it.
Thank you very much. Hold on. But thank you very much, Vernon. And was that you, Herb? Okay, go ahead.
Okay, I just wanted to add what Mayor is saying. First, I think this is the point of what who is responsible for what. Government is responsible. When I say government, very broad because it applies at all levels. Jamaica's economic and social resources. It has to establish decision-making process at the public administration standard, agriculture and agribusiness, business and the private sector, how they're going to do business together in a transparent and fashion that it has integrity, education enhancement, bringing health to the entire nation, anti-crime program, which can sleep with your windows and doors open, cyber and food security, technology development like AI and other technology that impacts that will greatly impact how uh, business is conducted at universities and government and private sector, and ensure the population has the opportunity to participate. Now, there are four entities that has to come together with government. That's the government, its citizens, businesses, and the society in general. They all set standards and they all help to ensure standards. Citizens establish community development projects, select the leadership teams, vote at all levels, support education initiatives, support for sports and team building, and support community policing. Society itself establishes standards of excellence, integrity, values, anti-corruption practices, fight colorism, and anti-LGBTQIA, fight racism, sexism, and other forms of discrimination. The businesses to conduct business by respecting the laws, respect the people, cooperate with government, community development is the phase that we see now with programs like Project Star, and to participate in government. So these basically are the things that should be in place in order to conduct good governance. And those are the partnerships and the people that are intrinsically involved in its development.
All right, thank you very much, Vernon. I did see your hand long one, but I'm going to go to two questions by Asha and then you. Asha, you have the floor.
Hi guys. So our first question.
A little bit low, Asha.
I'm sorry. Are you hearing me now?
Yeah,
Yes. So our first question comes from our Victoria. What are some of the and the second question right here we have um, the term solar and are
so panelists were you able to hear? The first one was, if you don't mind, Asha, I'm just going to read it again. The first one from being our cautious is, what are some of the ways citizens can hold their government accountable for their behavior and policies not in the best interest of the people? And the second one is, how can we help residents develop a stronger trust in their local government?
I'm going to, yeah, so I just want to couple the questions. I know that they're conceptually two discrete ideas, right? There's accountability and there's trust. However, accountability and trust are very coupled together. And so I just was sitting here and as the deputy mayor was speaking and as my good friend and colleague, Herb Nelson, was was describing, I'm thinking about this governance, right? And government and what happens when governance fails. Because what happens, like the basic vital resources, direct and control, we have all agreed on the definition. But moving forward, why are we at 2023 on the cusp of 2024 still talking about access to water? Water in Jamaica, in the rural areas. I'm speaking as a daughter of St. Elizabeth Airport. Why is it that we're still having conversations about roads and farm roads? Why is it that garbage is not picked up, it's not collected? So where when we talk about accountability and we get to corruption, that is one aspect. But let's just talk about the basic everyday Jamaican, St. Elizabeth or St. Catherine, Nigeria. And I just want to make sure that when I wake up, just as citizen of Jamaica, as a business owner in Jamaica, that we have some access to water and as a system of electricity that's not a monopoly, that people can actually afford, and that when you have reports and questions, that system of governance is responsive to the citizens. So I am interested
Yeah,
in
I
this
know you're busy and
conversation
everything,
because I
but I
because
said I know you're busy and
everything
everything,
in Jamaica
but I
is
may
not
have to
human
cut
human. I am not here
the
to
YouTube channel
even
off.
infer or intimate that narrative. What I'm here to say, we have some issues and there are some brilliant people on the forum and we
Because
need to address
the audio
those
is not good on
issues
it.
of how do we ensure that governance
Mm-hmm.
works, because we can have a structure and it still is not or doesn't work. That is my point. Now I'm going to just go to the
Right
question
now,
and I'm
it's
here
not
for 2
sounding
minutes
good. The
if I
quality
may
is sounding good.
about public
She has
trust,
to not end up
because
using,
that
Okay.
again coupled
they have to
with
end up
if
using
governance is
my
working or not working, that is how we
my
develop
Zoom
trust.
link
We
next
need to
time.
make sure that it works. And when we
Okay,
talk
all right.
about trust, it has been over system. Oftentimes, the average Jamaican person, because they don't have big degrees and big titles, they're overlooked. And so we need to ensure that citizens participation in meaningful dialogue. And again, whether we implement community councils, whether it is that when they
Well,
Thank you. Go ahead. Thank you, Dr. Dunkley. Well said. Go ahead, Andrew Sharpe.
one of the things too we gotta look at is our integrity commission. How are we doing our checks and balances? One prime example would be here in Diaspora. Look at the former president that are not being taken to court because they are checks and balance and integrity. So we need to strengthen our integrity commission in strengthening those mechanisms that will be able to hold whoever accountable. And that's some of the things that Jamaica has to play its role in terms of strengthening the integrity, protecting the whistleblowers and those who will speak out when things are wrong.
Thank you very much, Andrew. And we're going to go to Lawman next, and then Purpose, and then we'll take another question from the chat. Welcome, Lawman. Go ahead, please.
Thank you, Michelle, and thanks, dear panelists. I want to, touch on something that many of the deputy has said. Did mention that, we could probably benefit from a decentralized system. I do agree with that. That decentralization is good to an extent, but I do believe that there's a difference between macro governance and micro governance. And I think the decentralization aspect of what the mayor was speaking about would more fall along the macro governance lane. I also want to reiterate, the four pillars that Dr. Karren mentioned: accountability, predictability, transparency, and participation. And I guess, as she mentioned, participation, it goes right into what I think would be a solution or a strategy for good governance. And when Mr. Herb Nelson mentioned good governance, honestly, I chuckled because I wondered to myself, I questioned, if there's really good governance, going on right now. Not only in Jamaica, but, elsewhere that affects the diaspora. But good governance is possible. But for us to experience good governance, it comes right back to participation. And I think that there has to be a tripartite approach to national development, a tripartite approach to good governance, whereby which there is equal partnership among government, non-governmental organizations, and the private sector. So I guess my question to the panelists and to anybody who may want to chime in is, within the Jamaican context, what are the gaps, that are hindering good governance, and what can be closed those gaps?
Anybody wants to take that question? Thank you, Lawman. That was well submitted. Good question.
Um, okay, Herb wants to go. All right, go ahead. Yeah, yeah. I just wanted to say this. I spoke about leader and the items that come under the legal government ability. It's not intentional, and the deputy mayor will see back there on so not intentional and be a leader. If you get questioned about certain things that not citizens or not a member of the council or not a member of parliament question, this is not about holding the position of your party because you don't want to be moved. This is about the welfare of citizens and of the country overall. So you have to demonstrate certain principles of leadership that we don't see happening on the island, you know, in an effective manner. First of all, I believe that certain leaders have communication problems, so they don't get their points across. They don't uh, while the other independent managers hiding behind something that the leader wants to deliver it to the leader, but not deliver on behalf of the leader. And I consider, maybe they would mayor, everything can evaporate some more.
Thank you. And go ahead, Richard.
Right, I just want to address a few things. So yes, there cannot be thin skin. You will get criticism. Jamaicans have a thing to criticize politicians. Whether you're doing good or not, they criticize you. You have to do real good to get an applause. They hold you at a certain level. And what I'll also say is that I'm going to first, not for time, we tend sometimes to lack political will, not because we do not want to get a particular thing done, but there is a fear of taking unpopular decisions, even though it is right for the people. So that is a gap that we have to look at. Someone asked about the gap. Another thing that we will realize is that Jamaica is leader centric, and I will also say political leader centric, meaning that we will always look at what has gone wrong in government and attribute it to the politicians and to the prime minister. But I will tell you that if you ask the permanent secretary or the CEO to carry out a particular task and it is not done properly, based on the system and the security of the staff in government, you cannot get up tomorrow and fire that staff. In some other spaces, you can. And it is that fear or understanding that the persons who work in public sector have, that they carry out their duties with a certain level of professionalism. In Jamaica, you don't get that always. You get persons doing such work who love the job or they have a passion for public service. And that is another gap that we have. Not advocating for persons to be dismissed that will know they must be protected and all of the necessary diligence must be in place to deal with staff security. But that is something we have to look at, and we have to know, look at how we can have more public sector performance increase. And I will also say that the developmental challenges that we have, they are not pointing fingers at other states, but I know that in developed states, there are issues with roads, issues with water, issues with all sorts of things. But in the town centers, the mega centers, you don't necessarily have that because resources are channeled towards those areas. They pay the taxes, they pay the property taxes, they contribute business, and they organize themselves into business improvement districts. You name them. In Jamaica, you don't have such a situation. What you might have is probably 700,000 people paying taxes to take care of 3 million. That's another reality that we have to look at. Enforcement is another issue. The crime, I'm going to mention it's a hot topic. We have developed a culture of crime, and that is why it's so hard to get a culture of crime. We start to panic when we start to record homicides and increase in homicides. But we don't panic when the homicides are low, but crime is persistent and entrenched and systemic. When the corruption is happening in some of the offices, and the corruption is happening in some business practices, happening in all different systems in the society. No one is saying anything.